The Senate will come to order. Mr. Carpenter, please call the roll.
Senators Bridges, Cook, Corum, Court, Crowder, Danielson, Donovan, Finberg, Fields, Foote, Gardner, Janal, Gonzalez, Hill, Heisey, Holbert, Lee,
Excused.
Lundeen, Marble, Moreno, Pedersen, Briola, Rankin,
Absent.
Rodriguez, Scott,
Excused.
Smallwood,
Excused.
Sonnenberg, Story, Tate, Todd, Williams, Winter, Woodward, Zinzinger, Mr. President.
Here. With 31 present, 1 absent, and 3 excused, we have a quorum. Senator Winter, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you, Mr. President. Members and guests, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the Journal. Senator Bridges.
Mr. President, I move the reading of the Journal of Thursday, February 28th, 2019, be dispensed with. You're welcome. And that the Journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary and anyone else that has decided to correct it.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
People that want to correct it, they should be
All
able.
those. You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the Journal is approved. Committee reports.
February 28, 2019, Committee on Finance, Officers and Mayors Committee as following. Senate Bill 138, be amended as follows. As so amended, be referred to Committee of the Whole with a favorable recommendation. February 28, 2019, Committee on Finance, Officers and Mayors Committee as following. Senate Bill 139, be amended as follows. As so amended, be referred to Committee on Appropriations with a favorable recommendation. February 28, 2019, the Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources had in consideration had hearing of the following appointments. Recommends the appointments be placed on consent calendar and confirmed members of the Colorado Tourism Office Board of Directors for terms expiring June 1st, 2021. Douglas P. Price, Colorado Springs, Colorado, previously served as a representative of the destination marketing industry, now serves as a representative of cultural events and facilities groups and occasioned by the resignation of Barbara Jean Bowman of Grand Junction, Colorado. Reappointed Sean Edwards DeMule of Evergreen, Colorado, to serve as an at-large member from tourism-based industries and small communities. Appointed for terms expiring June 1st, 2022. Lucy K. Dillon, Colorado, to serve as representative of destination marketing industry indication by the change in designation of Douglas P. Price, Colorado Springs, Colorado. Appointed Kieran Keene of Lafayette, Colorado, to serve as an at-large member from tourism-based industries. Reappointed February 28, 2019. The Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources had consideration and had hearing of the following appointments. Recommended appointments to be placed on the consent calendar confirmed. Member of the Coal Mine Board of Examiners for term expiring July 1st, 2022. Stephen Wayne Larimore, Craig, Colorado, to serve as coal mine owner, operator, manager, or other mine official actively engaged in surface mining. Appointed February 28, 2019, Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources, after consideration of Mayor's Committee as following. House Bill 1114, be referred to Committee of the Whole with a favorable recommendation.
Mr. Carpenter, please add Senator Rankin to the roll call. Senate Services.
Correctly printed, Senate Bill 170, 171, and 172, correctly re-engrossed. Senate Bill 88, correctly revised. House Bill 1042 and 1063, correctly enrolled. Senate Bill 44, 57, 69, and 81, Senate Joint Resolution 5.
Message from the House.
The Speaker has appointed Representatives Hanson, Chairman, Escar, and Ransom as House conferees in the First Conference Committee on Senate Bill 128.
Third reading of bills, final passage, consent calendar. Mr. Carpenter, would you please read the title on the third reading bills consent calendar?
House Bill 1063 by Representatives Graff, Thorpe, and Larson, Senators Gardner and Lee, concerning the ability to share information between county adult protective services with the county child protective services, as well as an at-risk adult obtaining their own information.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the passage of the bill on the third reading of bills consent calendar, which includes House Bill 1063.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the third reading consent calendar? Are there any no votes on the third reading consent calendar? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, House Bill 1063 is passed. Co-sponsors: Senators Crowder, Heisey, Tate, Court, Janal, Winter, Williams, Todd, Priola, Rankin, Moreno, please add the President. Third reading of bills. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title to House Bill 1042.
House Bill 1042 by Representatives Gonzalez, Gutierrez, and Senator Gonzalez, concerning expanding the jurisdiction of the courts for certain vulnerable youth.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 1042 on third reading of the bill's final passage and ask for a favorable vote.
Is there any discussion on House Bill 1042? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the passage of House Bill 1042 on third reading and final passage. Are there any no votes? The Minority Leader. Senators Cook, Lundin, Marble, Priola, Gardner, Woodward, Sonnenberg, Heisey, Rankin, Tate, Hill. With a vote of 20 ayes, 12 no votes, 0 absent, 3 excused, House Bill 1042 is passed. Co-sponsors: the Majority Leader, Senators Moreno, Story, Fields, Williams, Winter, Court. Todd. General order, second reading of bills, consent. Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for considerations of general orders, second reading bills, consent calendar, and Senator Rodriguez will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the coat rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the bill title of all the bills on the general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar?
House Bill 1047 by Representative Bunto and Senator Danielson, concerning the authority of Metropolitan District to levy a sales tax for the purpose of providing fire protection in the areas of the district in which the tax is levied. House Bill 1175 by Representative Gray and Senator Gonzalez, concerning the property tax valuation appeal process. House Bill 1084 by Representative Gray and Senator Zinzinger, concerning a requirement that a notice of determination on whether a particular land area is blighted be given to owners of private property within the area.
Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for the adoption of all the bills on the consent calendar, which includes House Bill 1047, House Bill 1175, and House Bill 1084.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the consent calendar? The motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bills are adopted. Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee will budget reports had in consideration the following test bills being second reading thereof makes following recommendation on House Bill 1047, House Bill 1175, House Bill 1084 passed second reading or revised place calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is for the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 3 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. House Bill 1047, House Bill 1175, House Bill 1084 passed on second reading, order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. General order, second reading of bills. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over general order second reading of bills, which includes House Bill 1105 until Monday, March 4th, 2019.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Those bills will be laid over until Monday, March 4th. Consideration of House amendments to Senate bills. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 043?
Senate Bill 43 by Senators Lee and Gardner and Representatives Harrigan and Carver concerning an increase in the number of district court judges in certain judicial districts and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, colleagues. I move for concurrence with the House amendments to Senate Bill 43.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you. Members, recall that Senate Bill 43 is the bill to increase the number of district court judges around the state and making an appropriation for that. I would note to you, members, that my co-sponsor, the Democratic senator from El Paso County, joins me, though he had to be excused today, he joins me in urging your support. And in fact, the reason that we are doing this today is because by rule, the increase in the number of district court judges has to be done by midway through the session. So after the House got this and spent their time, it is back to us with about 2 legislative days left to do this. The changes are these. One, we were adding, I believe it is, I'd have to look at the fiscal note, but 15 judges. Every time we add a judge in a judicial district, the county where that judge is assigned has to find space for the judge, has to staff with the district attorney's office, and there are a lot of things that rattle through the system. We found, as discussed, that it was better to stretch some of these out. So you'll see in the bill where the date subject to available appropriation effective January 1, 2020 rather than January 1, 2019 for some of them. And this was done in coordination with the counties. The other important piece of this bill, you will recall, I think, that there was some discussion concerning the diversity of the trial court bench in Colorado. That diversity has declined over the past 3 administrations, inexplicably. And So there was some concern and is some concern, and this bill now creates a position to, without regard to any particular demographic, but simply to have someone in the judicial branch who ensures that that judge appointments are advertised, that attorneys understand, because it is a somewhat complex process, and it is, I can tell you from discussions with colleagues, it is a somewhat political process, not in the partisan sense, but a process in which attorneys have to do something that they don't usually do, which is reach out to appointing commissions and so forth. So it creates a position to do that. I believe that's a good change. And I would, along with the good Democratic senator from El Paso County, urge your support in concurring with House amendments.
Is there further discussion? Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I too rise in support of the concurrence with the House amendments in regards to Senate Bill 43. You all may remember that my reticence towards this bill initially was the "if you give a mouse a cookie" scenario, and quite frankly, I do agree that the House amendments are thoughtful, are measured, and also help address a concern around wanting to ensure that we are able to advertise and educate people about the process to become a judge, and that those opportunities are outreached to diverse communities. And so with that, I do ask for an aye vote in concurrence with these House amendments. Thank you.
Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I rise in support of the concurrent the amendments that came from the House, and I've been involved in this process with the few number of African American judges that we do have in this state, and I want to commend our sponsor for working with us to make sure that we have diverse voices on the outreach for the judicial appointments. I've spoken with the office, and they're actually already doing this, and we just want to make sure that it's done intentionally. A lot of times we can say marketing and outreach, but I believe that they have a plan that they're already working on, so we can make sure we have a diverse voice from our judges. We hear this all the time from our constituents about the lack of diversity of these appointments. I want to thank the sponsor for the consideration in supporting diversity on the bench.
Having no further discussion on Senate Bill 43, are there any no votes on concurrence with House amendments to Senate Bill 43? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 3 excused, the motion is adopted. Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, colleagues. With that, I move for the repassage of Senate Bill 43 as amended. Members, this bill is important because it adds trial court judges across the state of Colorado. Our caseloads are such that the criminal docket, which takes priority, is itself stacked up. The business community supports the addition of judges because we need them for the civil docket. It is important for the effective administration of justice across the state that we have these additional judges. This is thoughtful. It is important for the judicial branch. It is important for our communities, both in the criminal and the civil context, and I ask for your aye vote.
Members, as a reminder, this does require a 2/3 vote. The motion is the repassage of Senate Bill 43. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, Senate Bill 43 is repassed. Co-sponsors: Senators Court, Winter, Todd, Williams, Gonzalez, Rodriguez, Story, Fields. Quorum, Foot, Cook, Tate, Lundin. Please add the president. Consideration of governor's appointments. Mr. Carpenter, please read the appointments to the Air Quality Control Commission.
Members of the Air Quality Control Commission, for a term expiring January 31st, 2020, Alden Schindler, Basalt, Colorado, to serve as a person with appropriate scientific and technical experience and occasioned by the resignation of Megan Lee Scarvey, Denver, Colorado, appointed for terms expiring January 31st, 2022. Janet Beth Milford of Boulder, Colorado, to serve as a person with appropriate scientific and legal experience, reappointed. Lee Sarah Jones of Boulder, Colorado, to serve as a person with appropriate technical and private sector experience, occasioned by the resignation of William R. Tour, Boulder, Colorado, appointed.
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Auden Schindler fill the term that is expiring in January 31st, 2020.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the appointment of Ms. Shelder to the Air Quality Control Commission. Are there any no votes? Senator Heisey, Cook, Sonnenberg, the minority leader. Woodward, Gardner, Lundin, Hill, Marble, with a vote of 23 ayes, 9 no votes, 0 absent, 3 excused, Ms. Shelder is confirmed as a member of the Air Quality Control Commission. Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Jana Milford and Elise Jones fill the vacancies on the Air Quality Control Commission until January 31st, 2022.
The motion before the body is appointment of Ms. Jana Milford and Eliza Sarah Jones to the Air Quality Control Commission. Are there any no votes? Senators Cook, Heisey, the minority leader, Sonnenberg, Marble, Woodward, Gardner, Lundin, Hill. With a vote of 23 ayes, 9 no votes, 0 absent, and 3 excused, Ms. Jana Milford and Eliza Sarah Jones are confirmed as members of the Air Quality Control Commission. Signing of bills.
The President has signed Senate General Resolution 5. The President has signed House Bill 1066 and 70, 1109.
Delivery to the Governor.
To the Governor for signature on Thursday, February 28, 2019 at 12:02 p.m. Senate Bill 70, 80, 82, and 83.
Announcements. Senator General.
Thank you, Mr. President. And members, on Monday, it will be Acupuncture Association Day. The acupuncturists will be here down in the basement. They will have breakfast, and they will be meeting in room 112. And they will also have lunch at the Scottish Rite Masonic Center from 11 a.m. on. So please drop by and say hello to the Acupuncture Association of Colorado. They'd love to see you. And this is on your desk, and I know it will be announced again on Monday. So thank you.
Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, colleagues. I'd like to make an announcement, and my announcement is all about recognition and gratitude. Yesterday in the Senate, we heard House Bill 1032, and there's some people I like to thank. I'd like to first of all thank the sergeants and the staff behind me at the front desk because they created an environment that was smooth, that transitioned people from being witnesses into being heard. The process was so orderly, and that could not have been done without their preparation. And I just want them to know how much I appreciate the advanced preparation that took place. Let me explain what they did for us. They created an atmosphere where we had these ropes where you could sign up for or against the bill. And as you signed up, we were able to take their names and information, and then we were able to call them in order. They were given tickets. And I heard one person say that, I got a ticket, I'm number 12, which means I can go have lunch and I can come back. It reduced the anxiety as it relates to people who want to participate in the process. I'm not quite sure how many people signed up, but my last count was at 220 some people. And then what the front desk did is they created a process where people could write out their testimony. We didn't leave until around 11:30, so if people had family members that they had to go take care of, or they just couldn't stay any longer because they were elderly and they needed to take their medication, they were able to write down their statements. And as they wrote down their statements, I had a half of a ream, so I'm assuming it was about probably 200 statements that we were able to enter into the official record that these people wanted their voices heard. I appreciate all of the support that I received from both sides of this body. It is truly a pleasure to serve with you. Many of you stopped by and asked if I needed something, and you asked how many witnesses was there. You were truly concerned about the process. You saw it, you witnessed it, and you saw how orderly it was. The reason it was so orderly is because we worked together as a team, Republicans and Democrats, and our sergeants and our front desk staff. I can't tell you how much that means to me and the people of Colorado to see us working together. So I'm here to just say thank you, and I do want to compliment the bill sponsors. I know we're not allowed to say names, and I don't want to mix any names up, but I want to say thank you for listening to the people of Colorado. We all received numerous emails, Twitter responses, people stopping by, people stopping me, asking if they could pray for me. And then I got written notes, and through it all, we got through it in a very orderly and systematic way. There's not a better chamber under this gold dome as it is in the state Senate. So I just want to say thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to serve with all of you. Thank you.
Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Mr. President. There was one incident last night at this that I thought I would share with you. The good senator from, what county are you from? Arapahoe.
From the state of Colorado.
From the state of Colorado. Anyway, in her kindness, she was going around to everybody asking if we needed anything. Well, she walked up behind me and tapped me on the shoulder, and I jumped about that high. You know, and I thank you for offering to give something, but you know, you need to announce yourself and don't come up and. But anyway, I wanted to, you know, you did a good job last night, and it was a long and very organized, and but there were some comical deals that come out of it. But I want to thank you again.
Senator Todd.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I too want to just reiterate that we have the most phenomenal group of sergeants and our staff and being proactive and saying, this is the people's house. We want people to feel welcome. They had water stations set up. They had an availability for people to come and go. They had an opportunity for people who had emergencies that needed to leave to be able to have that process to go and say, can you move me up on the list? Probably the only mishap is that there seems to be mass confusion between Crowder and Quorum. And so we're going to continue to work on that because they are definitely both rural legislators and they both have their own identity. But that seemed to be, because the C is the way their names start, that's probably the end of it. But it was an honor to be in this state capitol, opening the doors to so many people. And again, kudos, thank you. We are so proud to be Colorado State Senators and to be able to work with such a strong caliber of people as our sergeants and our front desk. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Senator Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, I don't think it's a problem because I think probably everybody realizes all of us old white guys look alike.
Senator Lundy.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And I'm going to pivot slightly, but jump on the coattails of all this goodwill. I did have an opportunity to sit in the hearing for about 15 minutes yesterday, 20 minutes maybe, of the many hours that I know that hearing went on. And it was orderly. The chair, the good senator from Arapahoe County, had convened and was managing the room very, very well. It was, in fact, a great moment for a deliberative body and the people to engage with that deliberative body. Now, from there, I'm going to say it is an honor to serve with you all as elected members of the General Assembly, but I want to call out a group of individuals who you may have had the opportunity to interact with over the last day, and they're around the building today, and those are other elected officials who serve in what I think is, quite frankly, the heroes of elected politics in Colorado, and those are local school board members. The Colorado Association of School Boards is having their meeting, their delegate meeting yesterday and today. You may see some board members from your local school board. In fact, I see one standing in the chamber now. If you would please take a moment and thank those individuals who do the sometimes thankless job of being elected to and serving on the school boards to honor the people of their community and the students in their community. So I just wanted to let you know CASB is in the building today. Stop and encourage those other elected officials if you would. Thank you, Mr. President.
Further announcements. Senator Winter.
Mr. President, I want to ask for permission for a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
In a little bit of a lighter note, Girl Scouts have a profound impact on the state of Colorado and are continually doing service projects. You have 1 more week to buy your Girl Scout cookies. 1 week. I have Samoas, Thin Mints, Tagalongs in my office to promote and help one of my favorite Girl Scouts, my daughter Sienna. So if you have not had your Girl Scout cookie fix, please visit my office.
Further announcements. Message from the House.
The House has voted to remand the House Conference on First Conference Committee on Senate Bill 128 to consider matters not at issue between the two houses.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate recess until 11 a.m. today.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The Senate will stand in recess until 1100 today.